The Unscrewed Mind.
Podcast number 20 on video.
Are we saying that or we're not saying it?
Podcast number 20 on video.
Welcome to the Unscrewed Mind.
That's the noise, right?
Can we talk about that real quick? Do you like the intro?
Mm-hmm. But you know what I feel like? I feel like I'm on Legends of the Hidden Temple. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like a Nickelodeon show that when you were little, you don't remember the show?
I don't think so. No. It's
like a big rock man on the wall.
Uh-huh.
And it's like all Egyptian themed kind of deal. And it's kids going in and completing things to get out of the temple.
Okay.
It was a pretty good show, or it may be terrible, and I just remember it as being good. Look at my coffee. I've got the coffee pot with me.
That's sharp.
Because you can bring it anywhere in the house.
What's the retail cost of that coffee mug there?
I don't know. Oh, this one? This one was free. This was sent to me by somebody really special.
Man, the length of time it took to get you that.
It was a long time.
makes it a sweet story. Bob had to manifest that himself.
I think Bob
so that you could hold that in your hand.
I think Bob made this himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And by making it, I mean he made a like a porcelain, like a pot square, and then he chipped it out of that square slowly until he made a cup out of it.
He's
then broke the handle, then had to refashion a handle and hand paint Think and Believe on there.
He's like, I'm only going to make one of these, but it's going to be Rusty's. Hey,
I don't even know him.
This cup is so good, though. Like the glazing on it, you know how a coffee cup is glazed? This is the most glazed coffee cup I've ever had.
That's great.
I mean, like I have tons of Starbucks cups and everything.
Mm-hmm.
No, this one is built better. It's weird.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm glad you have it.
It's my favorite cup.
Rusty, this is a big episode for us. It's kind of like it's an achievement. We always list the name of the number of the podcast as we go, but this one is a big one because it's podcast number 20. It's a solid round number. And again, I think I say this every week, but I'm just excited that we're picking up steam. We're doing this week in and week out. It's getting easier. The technology is getting better. The subjects are getting better. I feel like we're hitting our stride.
Yeah. And the other thing is kind of leading up to this, I'm kind of a little bit anxious or something. I don't know what it is. Not really anxious or worried about it, but I'm wanting to do it, but not necessarily knowing exactly how it's going to go. And then I get on here and I just feel like it's great every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's exciting. And today's topic is super personal to both of us, I feel like, because of how much it's changed us.
Yeah.
But basically we're just doing, topic is going to be afterlife, spiritual afterlife, I guess is what you could call it. But just the change in how Matt and I feel and what we feel about different religions and kind of some things that some of the people in this realm speak about on afterlife.
So I think to start, it makes sense to just kind of go through conventional wisdom as far as the afterlife goes. Because I don't know if this is the same for you, Rusty, but for me, I had a very, I guess, similar belief in the afterlife as the rest of the American population would have. I think, right? As far as I knew, you were either an atheist or you were a Christian and you believed in a heaven and hell afterlife, or you believed that there was absolutely no God. And so I'm curious for you, you've mentioned before that you grew up in, didn't you? You went to Christian schools, right? So you've kind of been raised in this. I wonder if that's similar for where you came from.
Yeah, I mean, Baptist school to begin with, super strict. You can't dance. I mean, I was very young, pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, can't dance, no instruments, just crazy stuff. The best story ever is something, I had a pair, my mom and me could not find a pair of clean socks one morning. And I had, Michael Jordan's, it was like the first black ones where you had the finger holes in them.
Yep.
And I had a pair of Michael Jordan socks on. We walk into the classroom and my mom is like, hey, we went to Kmart. They didn't have any kids' socks. I'm serious. We were in Kmart for 15 minutes looking for socks and they had no children's socks. I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was meant to be. So we go
Sock shortage.
Yeah, we go in and the teacher's like, oh, you're going to have to see the principal. I had long pants on. You couldn't even see them. But
Man.
just super strict and crazy rules. And I think that the reason why I bring up that story is because how many rules are in these religions across, you've got I feel like a lot of people gravitate towards Catholic and non-denominational.
Mm-hmm.
And, the non-denominational people are, it feels like they're skating the rules a little bit, because you've got the Catholic side skating the rules in a totally different manner than the non-denominational side.
Right. Right.
So it's like, I don't know. It feels all very man-made, and it makes me question what we're reading in the Bible. And I have not read the Bible all the way through. My grandfather, he's read it through, I think like 5 times he's gone, but he talked to me about it a lot when I would go over to his house and just around it a lot. And, I just never felt a super connection with it. Like the spiritual awakening that I had at the end of 2019 was 80 times. I mean, not even on the scale of being able to explain to you what I felt versus all of these, going to church. I mean, I went to, I'm trying to think of what they called it. I guess they called it, it's like church and school. I can't even remember what they called it.
Uh-huh.
But I went every day from.
Is it like Bible school? Is that what they call it?
No, it was
Bible
like,
school?
it was like, yeah, but it was like a preacher led thing in school every day from 4th grade until 10th grade.
Wow. Is that mass? Was it mass?
Yeah. I guess, I guess that's maybe what it's called. I don't think it was called mass, but anyway, but never, I mean, the things that I feel like that I felt the most out of is like when they were singing, like everyone coming together on something, you could feel the energy in the room on that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always about things that you're not supposed to do and heaven and hell pieces of it.
Right.
And, if you do this, then you're done,
Yeah. Yeah. And so I didn't have like a church upbringing. I went to church a few times as a young child, kind of gravitated to it more once Carrie and I were married because her mom went to a local Korean church, and we went there and it felt like home. And there was a young preacher that kind of led our service on the American side, and it was a great atmosphere. I was baptized in that church and really felt the Spirit. Felt like I was being called to be closer to Jesus and all this kind of stuff. But I say all that to say that it was a great experience. I'm kind of fallen off, but I never felt confident in where I was going in that kind of Christian afterlife. And I was never at ease with kind of how everything was going to play out. Like if I died today, where's my spirit going to go? Like what does it mean for my soul? And all of that is kind of changed with this spiritual awakening. And I just, from what I'm reading and from what I'm taking in and from what I'm feeling by meditating, I'm more certain that everything's going to be okay than I was prior to this kind of enlightenment period, and less scared of what's going to happen. So before we move on, what do you think? What do you think happens when we die, Rusty? Like, what's your opinion of where we go or what happens?
So, from everything that I've studied, looked at, the conclusion that I've drawn is that we are not the bodies that are here right now.
Mm-hmm.
We are part of God, because God is everything, because everything is energy. And we are directly connected through him, and he's connected directly to us through us at the same time. And we don't die. Our body dies, but we do not die.
Okay.
And it really seems to me that the experience on death is much different than it is explained to us as well. I mean, I've had a real fear of dying and thinking about it. And, when family members die, it's been upsetting. And, you think that, well, that's the end of that type situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always kind of felt like when a family member dies, that they're with me, from,
Yeah.
from the standpoint of just the way that they've impacted my life, and from the standpoint of they've always been so committed to me that I feel like that they would be helping me if they could in the afterlife,
But so
or guiding.
from a Christian standpoint, do you think that they're angels now, and that, like, is that a belief that's kind of held over when you die? Will you see them in the afterlife, like, immediately? Like, what do you think about that now that you're like, you feel differently, like, as a whole, either enlightened or awake or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah. I, I don't really think that from and if you haven't listened to Delores Cannon, people out there, you definitely need to look into the things that she has done with hypnosis, putting people under, and then kind of going to past life regressions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that she explains it, and I resonate with what she's saying on this, and I feel like that this could be the most accurate portrayal, is that angels and us are not the same thing. And basically, we have a connection. She describes it as like a silver um, rope that is constantly connected to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you die, you're kind of pulled into heaven, I guess, if you want to call it that. And you're able to see your whole life. And that the reason for our life is that we're here to learn certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of talk with everyone that we're in a moment in history that is going to fundamentally change the way that we are completely, that we're moving to a different dimension and a better overall better place. Because I feel right now, and I know a lot of people that do, is that something just seems like it's not right anymore. And after the spiritual awakening, it feel more and more people that I talk to are, coming into the law of attraction and the different laws that are out there. And I'm talking to people that are talking to me about it, and vice versa. And so I feel like there's a awakening of people happening worldwide. And, the thing is, that's so crazy about that is that I always wonder, is it me? or is it the world changing, you know?
Well, so everything is, remember, like, depending on what you believe, everything is you pushed out,
Hmm.
right? So is the 5D awakening just you awakening? Like, what is that? Like, what does that even mean? I did some reading into Dolores Claiborne, or I always want to say Dolores Claiborne, but it's Delores Cannon.
We
That's an
can
old
call it
Stephen
that.
King book. I don't want to. I don't even know that that's one of his better works.
You can't
But
call it that. I was kidding.
um, the interesting part is, like, Dolores says that when you die, like, there's a moment of confusion, right? But then you're instantly met with people from past lives,
Hmm.
maybe like the most recent one or even one in the past, and you instantly feel like you're at home and you have memories with those, I guess we'll call them souls or spirits, and you share a kinship with them, and then you almost have this debriefing where you reprocess the lessons from that life, and then I'm assuming you get to choose to go back and live a different life, right?
Yeah.
Learn
Well,
different lessons. Is that what she says?
yeah. She says that basically your wife, your friends, everybody that's in your reality here is actually aware of everything prior to you getting here. And you're working on that lesson together. And when you go back, you're like, okay, well, we didn't do a very good job on this, and this. And this time you can be the wife and I'm going to be the, like, genders don't exist in this, in
Right.
outside of um, the world. But it really, I mean, think of the way that your body heals and the way that a baby is formed inside of the mother. I mean, it is incredible. And we know for a fact that we're not the people controlling those things. That's definitely a higher self, a higher, um, functioning thing than we can understand. I mean, you don't think about your arm or your leg if it's scratched for it to heal. It just does it on its own,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't really do anything um,
Or your
to
heartbeat. You don't control your heartbeat.
yeah,
You don't make the hair grow on your head, because if you did, you'd grow way thicker hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would
yeah,
just be like the most perfect, um, the most perfect head of hair for sure. I
right,
wonder, um, you know, Dolores, a lot of her talk-ins kind of mirror Buddhism and Hinduism, in that there's like a hint of reincarnation there. And there's this cycle where death and rebirth happens over and over again until you reach, some people call it nirvana. Uh, you reach that true enlightenment. And then at that point, there's nothing else for you to learn. And then you join uh, the source or God.
right.
Do you believe in God, as in like a single all powerful creator, or do you feel more comfortable calling it source and believing kind of like a source energy with a Christian upbringing?
Yeah,
I'm curious where you're at now.
yeah. Well, to me, universe and God are the same thing.
Hmm.
And my problem with the Bible or anything that is written is the ability for man to adjust it.
Right.
Um, and I can't remember if this is Dolores or where this is coming from, but another theory is, oh no, it's Neville. Neville was talking about he knows people that have died and he's seen them perfectly fine afterwards. Like he imagined that they didn't die, and
Hmm.
then he's seen them and they're perfectly fine and they have no knowledge of dying. And
Is, is this the Mandela effect?
yeah, yeah, it could be that. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. It's Berenstein Bears. We do know
Hmm.
that. There's no
It's
question.
actually Neville Goddard,
Yeah.
not Goddard. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to freak you out.
Didn't want to blow that out, but No, but the thing is okay, if time doesn't exist,
Which it doesn't.
right?
Uh-huh.
And if you don't die, really, right? And
Yep.
then the other question is you could be dropped in at, like, you think that you had a childhood, everything right now, right? But you could literally be dropped in at 20 years old with the memories of a childhood.
Yep.
And how would you know the difference between, I mean, every experience is, you remember every experience.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
mean, for me, I could have been dropped in here tomorrow. My memory is so terrible. Like I don't even know what I did yesterday. So this could be my first day in this reality, and it'd be completely normal as far as my brain's concerned. The Unscrewed Mind.